Hi guys, for this tutorial I'm going to demo to you how to create your first API script application with SQL Alchemy. So what is API? API is acronym for Application Programming Interface, a software intermediary allowing two applications to talk. There are two examples of API, how it works. The first example, as you can see, it is a system-based representation, where a user sends a request to an API which communicates with a server backend system. The server processes the request and sends a request back to the server. So this example how an API works. The second example is like a restaurant scenario. A restaurant places an order or a request with a waiter or the API. The waiter then passes the order to the chef, the backend server, who represents a meal prepared to the request. Once ready, the waiter delivers a meal or the response back to the customer. So this is how the example of how API works. Next is, what is HTTP method handler? There are four handler methods here. As you can see, there is get, post, put, and delete. Let's start with get. Think of get as a way to retrieve data from a server. Whether you visit a website or request information from an API, you're using a get method. Next is post. Post is used when you want to create something new on a server. Imagine filling out a form to register for a website or added a new item to an online shop. That also represents what post is. Now, let's go to put. Put comes into one play when you need to update or replace something that already exists. If you are even edit a profile, like in your email or your Facebook, or updating your address, you're using a put method. Finally, delete. Delete method is as straightforward as it sounds. It is used to remove something from a server. Maybe you're deleting a post or product from your cart, or removing an account. Delete sends a request to the server to remove those specific resources. So that's what is an HTTP method handler: get, post, put, and delete. Next is how an API script works. This diagram represents a client, like your computer or an app. Communicate with the server. The client sends a request to the server using different HTTP methods like get, post, put, or delete. The server processes the request and sends back a response. The communication happens through JSON format for requests and responses, which make it easier to exchange data. Simply put, the client asks for something and the server answered by either providing a data or confirming an action, like creating a data, updating, or reading an information or deleting something. Now let's dive into coding. In this section, we create our first API script that include CRUD function using SQL Alchemy. After you open your VS Code, navigate to Open Folder, then add new folder. After creating a folder, select that folder, then click New File. Name the file main.py. After that, navigate to the toolbar, click Terminal, New Terminal. Then next is we're going to create an environment. First is type py -m vnv, click enter. Next, we're going to activate our environment. To activate, type VNV slash scripts slash activate. Enter. After activating, we're going to download our required libraries. Type pip install fast API space SQL Alchemy space UV horn then enter. After finish downloading the resources, we're going to start our coding. First is we're going to declare what are we going to use for our script. So first is type from fast API import fast API comma HTTP exception comma depends new line from SQL Alchemy space import column integer string. Lastly, create engine. Next is new line from SQL Alchemy .rom import session maker comma declarative base new line from SQL Alchemy .orm import session. This is our required modules and libraries. Next is we're going to create or set up our database and SQL database. First is the variable name data database underscore URL equals SQL write then test.db. Next is engine. It's a variable name. Create engine is a module. Close and open parentheses. Next is database URL, comma, connection regs. Close and open bracket. Check underscore scene thread. False. Next is session. Session local. It's a variable name. Session local and session maker. Call session maker. Close and open parentheses. Auto commit. False. False. Comma. Auto plus false. False. Comma. Next. Then equals engine. This is base variable name equals declarative base. Close and open parentheses. So this section is used to set up our database SQL Lite. Next is we're going to make an module for our code. Next is we're going to make an item model for our code. An item model is we're going to make a table for our database. First is class item. There's an open parenthesis. Base. Next is table. Name. Equals item. ID. Variable name for our item. Column. Close and open parenthesis. Integer. Primary key equals true. Comma. And text equals true. Next is name, variable name, column, close and open parenthesis, string, comma, and text equals true. Next is description. Column, close and open parenthesis, string, next is base dot meta data dot create dot on underscore on close and open parenthesis bind equals engine. Now we're going to make our Fast API app. So app equals Fast API close open parenthesis. Next, we're going to make our independency to get DB session. So type def get underscore DB close and open parenthesis DB equals session maker session local. Next, try field DB. Next is finally DB dot close. Let's create our route, or let's create our CRUD functions. First is the post function. First is the post function. App dot post close in open parenthesis. Next is slash item slash div create item. Next is name str description str db session equals depends db. Next is item equals item closing open process. Name equals to name. Description equals to description. Next is db dot commit close open parenthesis db dot refresh item return item. Now we have our first function, which is post. Next is we're going to make a get function. Up, get, up, dot get, closing open, slash item, div, create, underscore item, div create, red underscore item, closing open parenthesis, copy the code above, then just paste db session depend get db. Next is item equals db dot query closing open parenthesis item dot on. Next is return item. Now we're going to make our put function. Up dot put closing open parenthesis slash item slash curly bracket item underscore id. Next is div. Just copy the code above and paste for the variable name update underscore item name description, change the name to item underscore item underscore id and this is name underscore this is name str comma description div session depend. Next is item minus item equals div equals db dot query item dot filter underscore open and close parenthesis item dot id equals item underscore id dot first. If item is none, raise http exception close open parenthesis status code 404 comma detail equals item not found. Next is item dot name equals name item dot description equals description. Next is db dot refresh closing open parenthesis item db document return plus return item Lastly, we're going to create a delete function. Add up.delete, closing open parenthesis, item, slash item, slash item ID. Next is div delete item, item dot int session dot depend. Next is item equals db dot query item dot fill dot filter. Next is if item is none, raise HTTP method status 404 details, item is not found. Next is db dot delete, closing open item, commit, delete commit, and delete refresh. I'll remove the refresh, that's the commit, then return message to the bucket, message item deleted successfully. We created our first API script, so let's try to run our script. To run, just type unicorn main app minus reload, enter. To follow the code, just click Alt, then click. You will receive this URL. Just type /docs. So here is our fast API functions: post, get, put, and delete. So let's try our post. Click, try it out. Name, let's try to pen. Description, use to write. Execute. As you can see, the response body is giving us the result, which is pen, use to write, and ID1. And the test DB, which is we created in create engine test DB. Here it is in items. As you can see, the information is recorded and stored. Let's try to get the data. Try out, execute. As you can see, the body responds the created items. Let's try to update our data. Let's click, try it out. The ID is 1. Let's try to name it pen2. Description is still the same, use to write. Execute. It's already been recorded and updated. Let's try to view it again. Execute. As you can see, the ID1 information changed to pen the name change to pen2, description, user, description, used to write. Let's try to delete our item. Just click item number 1, execute. The message is item successfully deleted. Let's try to view our item. It's still in the database. Execute. As you can see, there is no data left because we already created the data. So this is how you make your first API with SQL Alchemy. So to recap, so first we need to make we're going to declare our modules and libraries. Next is database setup. Next is item model, which is the table. Then we need to create our engine table create all. Next is to create an app fast API script. Next is the dependency to get DB session. This is how to create an item, to read an item, to update the item, and to delete an item. That's all. Thank you.
Yo ho ho ho, yo ho ho.